Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi, Don. Hi, Dr. Stroll. Dr. Bart. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Beautiful day today. There's a lot of rain here in Orlando. I know Dr. Francisco ran away. He's by the beach now. We're getting all this storm down here.
Yeah, no, not raining here at all.
Yeah. If my
Are you
internet,
in Miami?
I'm in Orlando right now, but
No,
it's
I was talking about Dr. Francisco.
Isn't he up in Daytona? Aren't you up there?
Daytona, yeah.
Mm.
yeah, he's up in Daytona. So I wanted to I've been doing some research. I have a case study today that we're discussing to see what do we want to share today. And I thought that'd be an awesome case study for me to share. It's a person that I've been working with for the last it's been about 4 weeks now, 4 to 5 weeks, that I've been using the BioWell, the PPG, and the Regmatex, that series that we're introducing that protocol. And it's been very amazing, very eye-opening in what I'm seeing, and how it's been a very powerful series of sessions for this person. So let me go ahead and make sure I'm getting this recorded, and I'll share. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to take you guys to my BioWell software. Make sure I have it launched here. Perfect. So do you guys see my BioWell screen here? Okay. So this is the first session that she came to pay a visit, and I just did as soon as she came in, I did the baseline scan to understand what's happening with her field, and what are some of the things that I could see we could work with her. So as you guys can see in biofield and BioWell, when we do scans and when we see there's all these shootouts in these areas. So if I click here and I look at the information, you can see like the urogenital system is at 854. The normal ranges are between 4 and 6. So we see that the whole image in total, it's a bit overactive. But then in the visually looking at them, you see urogenital, there's a lot of overactivation there. And then we see the pituitary and the epiphysis, so which is the pineal. Okay. That is, both of them are a little bit overactive as well. So when she came in, the first thing I asked her was, what's going on? Because if you look at the top of her head, you can see these shootouts. You see, like, especially over here, you can see that there's a lot of communication happening there, right? And when we see these, especially when you look at the black and white, you see these like whiter, lighter colors that are just like shooting off. So that shows a lot of overactivation in those areas. And when I look at it, so here is the hypothalamus, 643. Over here is the pineal or the epiphysis, 682. So I asked her, I'm like, what's going on? Why is like your hormonal systems are so out of range? And she told me that she's actually wearing a patch, a hormonal patch, that recently she's been really experiencing like some mood swings, things like that. And that's something that was alarming to me, that okay, if you're wearing a patch to regulate your hormones and to bring them to balance, then why is it overactivated? Why is there so much extra energy going there? Because we always see people that have you know they may have different type of issues with different systems, but when they're taking the right kind of medication, then once we scan them, you can still see that the energy is within the norm, within the range, within the 4 to 6. So that was one point that I realized with her. So we had a conversation there, and then of course when you look around her throat area, is the 8 joules of energy, a lot of energy there. When you look around the liver, it's like 960, way too much energy there. And then if you look at these orange spots, that tells us that these are chronic energetic patterns. So now looking at the kidneys, look at that, 972 on the right kidney, 1087 on the left kidney. So a lot of overactivity, as we can see, that's kind of like bogging her system with a lot of toxins, because these are all the filtration system in her body that's overactivated. That's it's like not taken care of. So a lot of toxins are building up and the system has to deal with it. So I wanted to see, okay, how do we take this information now and then go and work on the PPG and the Regmatex. So the first session that we did, this was at 10:32 a.m. and I ran I ran it on the PPG to kind of like regulate her autonomic nervous system, and then we ran her back on the system. So in just one session, I want you to take a look at this area right here. See this section right here? This is the left kidney was at 1087. This is at 10:32. This is about an hour. It's like 11:54 now. Look at that. It went to 797. Okay. Look at liver. It's 960, and she was diagnosed with fatty liver. Look at it now. 677. And what's really interesting is the chronic buildup. Like, usually when we have chronic buildup like that takes a while to be able to get that stuff out. Like when we see in one session that we can get those out, like I call those miracle sessions. To be able to it takes a while for them to get there and then to want to get them out. That's going to take a while too. But if you just take and do a comparison between the two, I'm going to add that one and compare. I'm going to add this one to compare. Just kind of just take a look to see what do we see the changes in one session. So what I'm doing for you today, I'm showing you one session and then I'm showing you after a few weeks. Because we've always been wondering that, okay, in one session we have a lot of therapies that influence the system, but now how long does it last? Right? So that's what's the really important research that I'm doing with this. So if you look down, especially in this area over here, do you see how much energy was built up in the sacral and the lower back? Now look at it here. And that's a big change there. Now, when she came in, she had a lot of pain that was in her middle back and in her hips. She's the one that I messaged you, Dr. Francisco, about that. She was her pain level when she came in was at a 10. So then after I ran this and she got up after the session and we measured, I asked her pain level from a 10, it was down to a 4 or a 5. And you can visually see, you see how much overactivation is on the left side compared to the right side. The left side is the before, the right side is the after. And then look at the energy in the spine. When she was complaining about pain, look at this area right over here. Do you see how that blue is kind of almost stagnant? It doesn't have a movement. It's just a bunch of blue that's kind of stuck together there. You see that? Now look at it over here. And you see the red dots and everything over there? Now look at it on that side. See the red dots that we see on the scans, those are sign of high intensity photons. That's a lot of pressure that's being placed on the system. And that's how on the photonic emission, we can see them as this they have a lot more, those photons that are being emitted, they have a lot more intensity. So now, besides the amount of energy that was shooting out, just look at how much calmer the energy got and how much nicer flow is going over here. But while she was sitting and getting the session done, the way that she was sitting, her neck was placed in a kind of a weird position. So then I noticed that, see on the back of the neck, I noticed that she had a little bit more of a dip than, she had it a little bit to begin with, but then after the session, I saw it drop more. So then I just asked her, I'm like, were you comfortable during the session? And she was like, yeah, my neck was a little bit, I had to hold it and it wasn't very comfortable. So then, you know, I took that information, and the next session when she came, I made sure like I have a pillow or a supportive, you know, back for her. So when she's sitting there to get the session done, she's not having to put her neck like in a weird way. That's going to block the energy there.
Mm.
So these are all the pointers that I take. Anything that I check, I want to see why. And I communicated back with them, and that's how I can get like very, very powerful information. Now, look at the urogenital system here. Do you see this this orange stuff that are the chronic energetic buildups that are down in that section there? Now look at it here. Do you see how it's almost going away?
Very interesting.
And then
You can see, you can still see all the patterns. They're all there. They're very, very, very
the patterns are
similar
there.
from one side to the other. It's
Yeah.
just like the intensity of the problem has decreased, but you see almost like it's very similar, the images, and that's pretty interesting to
That's
me.
what's really
Like,
interesting. Yeah, that's what I really enjoy when we're doing research like that, because I mean, it's like, you know, we're apples and apples, you know, we're not comparing
yeah,
apples to orange.
yeah.
So, and you know, usually when we see that these when these buildups are there and they're releasing, they start to like shoot out in these patterns out of the system. And that's kind of like what we're seeing here. Do you notice the way that that blue is moving now? It's
Yeah.
almost like it's like shooting out of the system. That's how we see like trapped emotions, toxins, things like that when they get released. That's how the biofield has that visualization of movements.
And this was just the
So
PPG or the PPG and Regmatex?
this is the PPG and Regmatex together.
And do you remember what
So
were the specifics of the session that you did? What have you selected?
yes.
Was it like, yeah?
So when I ran the PPG, then because I chose to, at first when they come in, I run the PPG on them, just the ANS, just to get a baseline. I have the BioWell scan. I know how's their biofield, how's their bioenergy, and then I get a ANS scan of them too, which is the 5-minute session. They put the 2 clips on, and they get we get a full report on their HRV and on their autonomic nervous system. So now that's my baseline. I keep that, and then I run another session with them after I use the BioWell information, and then use a recommendation that the system, the Regmatex, will give me now from just running the ANS by itself. If they have the MUS, the medically unexplained symptoms, if they have that form filled out, and then once you go, it's going to use that information. It's going to use the information from the ANS scan from PPG. And then the Regmatex will automatically make you recommendations of there's a pop-up that will come up. And the ones that are highlighted in red are the ones that the system, the AI in the system is actually, you know, based on the communication with the PPG and the MUS, is recommending to the person. So then I make sure those are 5-minute sessions. So what I do is that I run those 5-minute sessions that the system is telling me. And then with one of them, I usually get, is usually a vagus nerve activation or prefrontal cortex. With that one, I usually get 100% action potential. But then it gives me another session for, what are some of the other ones that it usually recommends?
The autonomic nervous system balance, the vagus nerve, sometimes it's the limbic system, sometimes, yeah, there's a bunch, depends on the case.
So there's another one that it recommends. Usually when I run that one, it gives me only like up to 40-45% action potential. So then I finish usually the 2 that it recommends. And then what I do is I come here and, you know, I go on the software on guidepractitioners.com, and then I just click on the attention on the scan. So just to show you guys, if you want me to walk you through that one too, actually be a good little demo here for that one too. Here, let me bring this up here. So this is guidepractitioners.com. This is where our software.
Yeah, we can't see it
This is
because
a
we're
directory
sharing.
for our
You're still
practitioners.
sharing the same window.
Do you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where we are promoting our practitioners. So when people come and register in here, they can log in and use the software. So if I'm usually have this, like when in the mornings I have this, I'm logged into this to speed up my whole process. So if I have this already logged in, I just quickly go to BioWell. And then I think I've already created an account for her, which I haven't, surprisingly. So then I'll just do create accounts. If this is already connected, I just type in her name. And then I have to select her name here from the dropdown. And for now, I just do a test. So when she's in my system, then I can quickly go to her scans here. And then when she came to me that day, this was her first scan that I did. So I'll come in here, I just click on attention, and then these are the systems that it gives me that I know I can use these in the autonomic, in the specific regulation. Okay. So then I chose the kidneys, I chose the, we don't have yang and those type of things, and other system because this is more related to energy patterns, but I choose actual systems. So I choose the heart, and then I would do choose the stomach area, pituitary, thyroid, pineal. And see, once I saw this right here, this was a good aha moment for me. As soon as I saw that it was a pituitary thyroid epiphysis, I was like the HPA axis. Once I ran the HPA axis on her, that was like, oh my God, her system is just came to life. Like her action potential, the total voltage of the system was when I was running the Regmatex throughout the different sessions, not just that one day. I was noticing it was going kind of from negative 61 to negative 55, it was in that range. And then once I ran the HPA axis on her, her voltage immediately went up to negative 71. So that had, and she was at 100% action potential. So that was from here, I realized that I need to run the HPA axis on her, and that was one of the most powerful things. So every time she comes, I run the HPA axis on her also.
How's
As a
she
part
feeling
of
now?
no, I go to her. So now coming back to her scan over there.
Everything's muted, so you don't worry about being online.
I'm sorry.
Everything's
So this what we were talking about here, that was just that one session. But now if we come and go, and oh, it would be kind of cool for me to share the before and after on that day. So you could see the changes in the system too of exactly what shifted. But if we go back here, let's clear these. So now this is the first scan that she did. Now that was the 6/16. So 7/2 was the last time that we had a session, and I'm just that's how she's coming back. We're following that protocol of at least twice a week during for 2 sessions per week, and we're doing this for for the six sessions. So right now, if we compare her before, are you guys ready for this? It's I need a drum roll right now. It's if you take that and you compare it now to this, I just want you to see the power what we're dealing with here. Which when I put this in front of her, she was freaking blown away herself. Look at the back. Look at the energy that's moving on the back. Like, look at all of this red that we had in the system that was building up in these areas. All of these guys, they're completely almost gone. I mean, we have a couple of little specks still left there. Look at the amount of energy that was building up and blocking there. Like there's so much nicer flow now. Look at all that buildup, all of the buildup that we had on the lower back. That all she was complaining, continuously about hip pains. Now look at that, and look at the flow in the back now. See this, like this completely got released. This was a blockage point right here. Okay. That was a blockage point. And I was running a lot of all the hip options when you go to specific regulations. Anything that was related to the hip or to the sacrum, the lower back, I was including those as a part of her custom session. So that's really zapped the energy in the lower back and got the energy moving up. And that's what we want. So when energy moves up, see if you go to this view here, see, look at the top of the head. Do you see how much, like on this side, there's low energy, we have the shootouts, but look at on the other side now, that there's more energy moving on top of the head now.
So the first ones that you showed, they were very similar. This one is very different. It looks like a different person,
This is
almost.
very different. This is a different person. Yeah, this
It's like
looks
a
like a
big
different
shift
person,
in
right?
the energy pattern of this individual, I guess. Like, is it something that you
Yeah,
see on a
look at
regular
the
basis,
shootout
like
there.
changing like this?
No, this is huge. I mean, for going from there to there, this would be like 6 months of like heavy, like back to back stacking different types of therapies, like red light therapy, hot cold therapy, um, like hyperbaric chambers to be able to like push all the toxins, everything that's like underneath to be able to push them out. So I mean, this is a lot of work to want to go from that point to this point
So the big
in a
difference
matter of
between and Bart can relate to that is like we don't know. I mean, we know the recommendations for a general, like in general, this is the recommendation for specific therapies, but we don't know exactly for that individual, right? We're just following a protocol sometimes that is like kind of generic. You don't know how that person is going to react. The beauty of this system is that you're doing it together with the PPG, so the respiratory biofeedback, like preparing the system to receive the therapy because you're activating the balance between the sympathetic parasympathetic, activating the vagus nerve and everything else, and the system is reading and treating at the same time. Like it's a true biofeedback system that is looking at what's happening with that particular individual at that day and then giving you the therapy. So I think to me, that's the big difference because it's really custom tailored to that individual, and you're seeing that, real time and the system is doing it by itself. Yeah. So that makes a
this is game
huge
changing. I
difference.
mean, to be able to do this with this kind of a clarity,
Yeah.
I don't think we've had access to that.
Yeah,
Have you, Bart,
I
you've
think,
been
go ahead.
for a while. Have you had anything that we could have this kind of a powerful interaction with, and from quantum physics to actually influencing the system?
Well, I think the correct terminology is open loop versus closed loop. And all these other technologies without any kind of reference points, generic, all that, that's just open loop. I mean, you have no idea where it's going. And with a closed loop, just like, Francisco was saying, is that the system has a way to respond specifically to the different frequencies and cause the changes that need to happen. But I think the bigger advantage of anything is you got a way to measure it and you got a visual. Obviously, I mean, let's be fair, you know, clearly you have an understanding of all of this. I don't, right? And so all that's also subjective to interpretation, right? Your interpretation, and I'm assuming and counting on the fact that you know what you're talking about. But, for us or anyone else, how do you interpret it? That's the key. And, your guidance obviously is key in saying, well, yeah, this is what that means. And that's going to always be the first hurdle with anyone, is that people actually know what they're saying. Because the fact that you say it takes 6 months, it's like, okay, wow, that's amazing. So, but that's going to be the challenge for all of us, to really get to that base, to know that this is what that means. And it's very powerful. You're right. It's incredibly powerful.
It is, yeah. The cool thing is that as you start plugging in the other Biotekna devices into the system, then each one of those give you like a number, a specific number
Yep.
that we are all familiar with. So that is even more powerful when you combine the BIA and the HAG, and then you have a complete diagnosis in terms of osteosarcopenic obesity and the numbers and phase angle, and so it makes it even more clear. So very
Yeah,
interesting.
and that is definitely the big advantage, right?
Yeah.
Because it really, ultimately, it doesn't matter what system you're using, as long as the system is predictable and reliable, at the end of the day. And so, and we could follow it. So it's going to measure it the same way, and it's never going to be different. So yeah, but you're right, the combination, and it's powerful. And I love the fact that basically what you're suggesting there, Nima, is that we have the ability to heal people a lot faster rate than all these quote unquote fancy things out there, right? Because we have a way to measure it, and now we've got the tools.
And we
Thanks.
got the tools. That's the cool part.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's the, and when I'm looking at the information and what I'm sharing here, I mean, this is not my interpretation. This is the science of biophotonics. So if we, for example, I don't know how far you are in your course, but see, when we look at the patterns like here, let me change my, if I can change my.
Well, I'm still a newbie at it, so
Yeah, me too.
that's why we're
I took
trusting
the
you,
course,
Nima.
but I'm still starting. Yeah.
That's why we're trusting you, Nima.
Okay, well, then let me educate you. So it's not, you're not taking my word on it. You can actually know the science. So we just did this is the before and after over, I think that was a 2 week session, right? So when you're looking at the orange color that's here, this is the biofield of the before scan. And then when we look at the purple color, this is the biofield of the after scan. Okay. So what we want to take a look at now, if I go on the before scan, for example, and if I look at this area over here, see, this is the urogenital system. And if you look on the energy joules, it gives us energy joules information. It's 8.66. So this number should be between 4 and 6. That's the ideal range for energy to be moving through different systems, every system in the body. Okay. So now when we see that it was 866, now I can go click on the after and go in the same place. Now you can see that energy went to 467. Okay. So that's a huge shift there. But at the same time, and what does that mean? Like, your genital system is a filtration system, right? It, pulls toxins, it filters blood. So then, if you're working on releasing everything that's like building up in the system, and like I would hear as soon as when I have the system on her, I'm running the Regmatex on her, all of a sudden like her stomach and her like lower abdomen starts to just make like all these like weird noises, to the point like she's like, oh my God, like she's embarrassed, like it's like grabbing her stomach. She doesn't know what's going on, but like we are experiencing like physical symptoms that she's experiencing. And like that's how much we can see that energy got moved there, right? But at the same time here, when we look on the back, like you look at the lower back area, this is the area, the hip issues that she had, a lot of pain. So you can see before was at 868. Now when we go to the after, it's 450. So these are big, big changes there that we're seeing, in a matter of 2 weeks. Now coming down here, this is her hips. This is the coccyx pelvis minor zone. The energy there was at 948. Now that energy went to 405. Okay, if you go a little bit lower here, these are the coronary vessels. So if you have any blockages in the hip, then it kind of like constrains the flow of blood through the system, puts a lot of pressure on the cardiovascular system. And that's what we see, that when people have hip issues, they usually run into people that are sitting down a lot and energy is not really moving, it's getting stuck in their hips. Then they tend to start having high blood pressure and things like that down the line. Because now the heart has to work a lot harder to get the energy moving through the system. So on the before for her, her coronary vessels was at 777. Her beautiful angel numbers. So now that's a lot of pressure. Now going on the after, they're at 543 in the perfect optimal range that they're supposed to be. So we can see like in her lower back, there's a big dip there. The energy was at 455. I mean, the dip is there because of the extreme overactivity that we're seeing here. But now you can see the energy went up to 686. So now, whenever we have a blockage in the system, and there's all this overactivity, this is almost like imagine if this is water, this is like a river. And then if we're blocking the flow, then we're building a dam here, right? There's like the energy that's backing up. So as soon as we release that, then a lot of this energy that's been used to like just lingering around these areas, now it's like imagine a dam, you go all of a sudden like release the, open the door, all this like energy starts to just like gush out of it, right? So that's kind of like what's going on here. We see all of this energy that's backed up now, that the system is starting to continue to just like just move through the system. And that's how now the energy gets higher in these areas. Okay. So when we look over here on the respiratory system, mammary glands, respiratory system, 786. A lot of energy there. Right now is at 430.
Is there like
These are big.
any markers there or anywhere that you can see a number for the whole system as a whole, like the energy for her whole system in comparison, like before and then after? Or you just like each individual part?
As a whole system on the software that we have, we can kind of take a look at that. Let me
Not
see
sure if that
I
makes
have
much
that
sense because what it looks like is that because there are certain parts now where the blue is a little higher than the orange, but it seems that it's more like harmonious all around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so if you look down here now, the areas that the blue is higher, this is the descending colon, for example. Okay, so the descending colon before was at 495, now is at 1008. So there's a lot more energy there. But then she was also explaining, kind of telling me about how she had a lot of like fatty food and things like that. And then
It
she
could
was
be like
going like through
detoxification, that type of stuff, maybe.
it could be a part of that too, because that's what she was explaining to me, that like her bowel movements like all of a sudden changed. That like she was noticing a difference in it. So she thought it's something she's eating, but I thought it's more like, the system actually like, getting rid of whatever we don't want to really be hanging out in there. So now on this scan, if you notice over here that this section is a little bit higher too. So and we got to pay attention. This is 2 weeks later, and it's not like the same before and after. So this looks like this is the duodenum. This is like the part of the stomach that looks like she had something that was like very like it wasn't really, she was very sensitive to. So I feel like and she told me that she had some type of food that also she felt like her digestive system was influenced by. So I feel like that day when I scanned her, that's what she was dealing with the overactivity that's going on in the blind gut and the duodenum. This was her reaction to what was going on. But when you look down here in this section also, we see that there's more energy going on the cardiovascular system now. And before, when we look on this end of it, it was at 508. But now when we look on this end, it's 735. So, there's still a lot of movement happening in the system. It's like the cardiovascular system is now, there's all this energy that's moving up now, that there's more energy coming to the cardiovascular system, and it's just like starting to work and like, circulating in the system. So I have to start paying attention to her blood flow, because when we do the PPG, we can actually measure blood flow. So now if we can see higher blood flow now after the sessions that she was doing, then that would be a pretty interesting discovery as well. I have everything on this other laptop here. Maybe I could. I feel like maybe we spend the whole time on this session, because I wanted to like the.
No, but that's interesting
Francisco
because
to go over that too.
no, but that's interesting. That's like the idea for a protocol, the way that you're doing it, so that people that have both systems, they know how to do.
So Nima, just to
Yeah.
clarify, because I
And
tried
there's-
this last night, I actually did not get to do a BioWell scan first because my husband had just eaten. But
do it. Always do a BioWell scan first.
I know. So we'll plan it out better next time. But anyway, so just to clarify, the system will give recommendations, but you have to have the questionnaires filled out first. Yes.
If you have the recommendation filled out, it will give you more recommendations. If you don't have it filled out, just by the ANS.
You should do that every time. Like you should always,
do it every time.
with every patient. I mean, you should have the medically explained symptoms questionnaire filled out. Like, get into the habit of doing it, because it takes that into account.
Sure. Yeah, no, my goal was to get it out of the box and figure out how to use it. And I'll be more particular next time. So what data are you looking at in order to determine what breath pattern to choose? I mean, I understand the longer exhale is going to activate the parasympathetic, and I understand the balance, and I understand the activation, but are you looking at any data in particular? Because there's a lot of breathwork patterns on there. And are you having them do the breath work while they're doing the Regmatex also?
Yeah, we have to start really mastering the connection, right? So right now we don't want to just start doing a whole bunch of different types of experiments. I just want to like focus on the 5-2-5 right now. And that's what the system is, recommends. All the different treatments is usually already set to 5-2-5.
Okay, so that's what ended up happening, but I didn't know if I was supposed to change it. Okay.
Yeah, that's a very, very powerful tool we have there. So we have to, it's going to take a little bit of time for us to learn like every little piece of what's happening there. But right now with, right now I feel like I know maybe 20%, maybe a little bit more than 20% of the software, but like the results that I'm getting are fascinating. Like, and everybody is easy. Like you guys can do the same thing and get the same results.
So is this system able to bring back if there's like high capillary permeability? Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I thought I heard you say, but okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The interesting thing too is, and I think we're going to do it, next week, talk about it in more details, but that you have the app, right? The Biotekna app.
Mm-hmm.
And then that your patient can download. And then once your patient downloads the Biotekna app, you can send exercises for them to do at home. And you can track the results of everything that they're doing. In terms of the PPG, it works really well with the ANS control, which is the mobile unit that you send your patient home with, and then you give them the exercises through your app, and then they do all the breathing exercises according to the schedule that you set up for them. Every time they do it, then you get the results in your house, because these things the patients should be doing more than just one respiratory biofeedback in your office, like every maybe every other week or maybe twice a week, or depends on the way that you set it up. They should be doing this like 3-4 times a day. for 5 minutes. But you can do that. You can set it all up in the app. And the app does a lot more than just the respiratory biofeedback. If you have the egg that measures the brain, and then you can also give them specific neurofeedback exercises to do. But if you want to look at their diet, you can track their diet. You can suggest exercises for them to do. There's a lot of different things that can be done in the app, and I think that next week we can cover that in details. But just bear that in mind, keep that in mind that it's a combination of the things that you do at the office and the things that you ask them to do at home, because these things through functional medicine has to involve lifestyle changes, and that goes through stress management at home, dietary interventions, different types of supplements you're taking, the pattern that they're doing their exercises and all that. And we can use that Biotekna app in conjunction with the things that we do at the office in a very powerful way.
So no more McDonald's, huh?
Yeah.
All right, now look at this one. If you look at the energy, the analysis, this shows us more like the stress values here. So the first time when I scanned her, like she was more almost towards increased, stress in her system. But now she went from 282 to a perfect mid-optimal at 249. Her energy, ideally, we want to be within 40 and 60 joules. Which is not really 40 to 60 joules, it's 40 times 10 to the negative 2. But for the sake of simplicity, we just say 40 to 60. But when we look before, see that her energy was higher, right? And we always say high energy is not always good, because if you have a lot of overactivity in a lot of different systems, that can add into the overall energy of the person. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, they're like an Olympian and they have amazing energy. It's just like their body is spending way too much energy and emitting too much energy. So, and what we can see down in this section is, which is pretty cool, is that before in the total balance of the system, it was more of a pull towards a sympathetic dominance. But now we have a nice parasympathetic dominance in the system. And when you look over here, this is the amount of energy that's spent in the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. So we see that like the energy spent on the sympathetic systems were in the medium range. It was like kind of like past the norm. But now we can see that the parasympathetic system is activated. And it's like, it's like recovery mode.
Well, that's why you see all those increases in energy in, stomach, duodenum, things that have to do with digestion, excretion, and that's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
Just to add specifics on that, and thanks for that nuance. Just because an energy is higher in one particular organ, as you said, it may not necessarily be a good thing, because maybe it's that organ is being overstressed.
Exactly.
Versus, I think the example that you gave about the head, it had more energy afterwards. And maybe in that case, that is a good thing. And so again, it's really understanding
The context.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now, are you ready for this one? This is the one that is just like, when I saw it, I'm like, oh my God. All right, look at the energy diagram. See, the orange is see all these big shootouts that we had here. These are all like, that extra over energy that's being spent in the system. So look at the blind gut area. You get how much shootout it was. And then the blue is the after. See, we can see like how most of the energy was like kind of like in the overactivation. Ideally, we want to be in that green zone. That's optimal energy spent. That's like longevity. When we're there, it's like, that's we're not really aging. But then when we're out of there, that's like we're spending a lot of our resources just to be able to function. So now we can see liver was really, really high up. Now look at the difference though. And this is, guys, this is 2 weeks. I mean, like that's the crazy part of it. That's a huge difference. Like I've been doing this for 10 years. You don't see these kind of changes in a matter of like 2 weeks in a system.
And what was the treatment modality in this one? How
So
did you
this was the
treat?
same thing that I just shared. Yeah,
Just
it
the
was
Regmatex.
I looked at all the systems on the software of what they needed attention, and I went to put it into specific regulations in Regmatex.
Okay.
So then you can look over here, even spine, like thorax zone, that area that we were seeing, like, she was experiencing a lot of pain. Now look at it. Actually, no, this is the area that the way that she was sitting, she actually had more energy there afterwards. So that was more related to like her back. That when the energy that was that was a very cool thing that I experienced with her. Because once we saw that the energy move, see right here, this energy that was stuck here, it started moving up because this was the blockage point and we released the blockage point. So now it started moving up. Now it came up, it hit a second blockage point here. And then now it wants to move, it wants to go around. But as soon as it hit there, now it's backing up over here now. And now she started to feel like, oh, I like, I have so much energy like in my shoulders. Like, she was feeling a little bit of a discomfort there. So then I don't think I did the BioWell scan after that. But I think I did though. I should have it. What I did was I ran another session on just on the cervical and all the like the vertebrae and everything that's around her neck. And this energy like perfectly started moving. And all these areas that you see that there's a little bit of there's like low energy here in front of the face and back here, it started to like just very beautiful way started to move. So that's what I realized, and I like I noticed it with her at how like because with this it's like almost immediate, like you're hitting it, it's releasing, you're measuring, and just like you see energy like blockage when one area move to somewhere else, and then now I can go and see okay where's the next blockage, just start running it on there and just like keep on zapping it to get the energy moving through the system.
Nima, how
Isn't that
long are you
cool?
doing these sessions? That's really cool.
It's taking about 2 hours for me.
So like when you're doing like each section, how much time are you giving it roughly?
So, I mean, they come in, I scan them on the BioWell, I put them on the PPG. That's like a 5 minute on the PPG, 5 minute on the BioWell. My first session, I have to explain to them what we're doing a little bit. So, I spend a little bit of time like just telling them what the heck this is and what we're doing. Make sure I get the release form signed and, like talking about everything that we're doing. And then after doing the scan, I just quickly look at the information, run it on Regmatex. They're sitting there, I connect them, and we're ready to go.
But I mean like your Regmatex sessions,
So
how
2 5 minutes I usually do, and then a
5
30
minutes?
minutes. The 2 5 minutes that the system recommends, and then I
Okay.
usually do a 30-minute session of specific regulations, and I go to the districts and I choose the systems that I see on the BioWell that I want to start. Kind of like if there's a blockage, I want to add energy to release. If there's overactivation, I want to help the system to create that more healing environment.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question, if I may. So I got the PPG and then and the other two, by the way. So great, thank you for that, Nima, for executing that so quickly.
Of course.
And so I got the manual, but is there documentation how to interpret all this? Is that somewhere that I have access to?
So if you go on the software itself, there is a section on the software that says documents.
And it's going to be in there. Okay.
Yeah, if you go in there, there's a lot of like there's videos that shows you how to connect or what is what. They're not the greatest videos. We are recreating a lot of that stuff, but there is a lot of information there.
And there's
But
subtitles in English.
yeah, I was going to say it's all in Italian though.
In italiano con sottotitoli in English.
All right. So that's the only thing we have currently available, correct?
Oh, there's me
Currently,
and
and
there's Nima.
Luca is working. Dr. Francisco is working on a bunch of stuff, and you have access to me here as well.
All right.
So if we go back to that energy diagram, because I was just showing you guys why the energy went up here all of a sudden and the energy diagram. because of once we release the energy here, then it moved to that section there. And then when we're looking at the energy diagram, we see the big jump here. Because before it was like a blockage almost there, and then see now woof, energy started to come in there. So that's how, like, you know, we look at movement of energy. It's not necessarily good or bad. We're just like seeing how the system is like regulating itself. And that's what's really fascinating to see. Like, look at here, throat area. Look at the huge shootout here that was around the throat area. Now look at it. I mean, it just kind of like dipped in. And the system kind of like sometimes like it does the opposite and then it balances out. So that's what I'm starting to see. A lot of dynamics I'm seeing here now when we're using these systems with it. The other systems that I've been researching, like energy modalities, like PMF, red light therapy, things like that, are very like, you know, it's very tiny like shifts that we see in the system. But then they have to do many, many sessions over time, and then they get to that. But from this, I'm completely seeing a huge difference. So now coming over here, see, we're looking at the coronary vessels, that how much energy was being spent there. Now look at it, how it came down here. So yeah, the only thing that still trying to make sense of is the pituitary. You know, and here's the pituitary started to, it was really underactive here. And I got to ask her to see if maybe she changed or she's taking more like different types of medication to balance her hormones, or maybe she shift her patch or something. But that's the thing I'm trying to understand, that because that was a lot of from almost going underactive to like poof, like getting a lot of energy. I don't know, it was like sleeping and now it's like all of a sudden awake and it's like, what did I miss? And all that energy is like, you know, coming up there, or I don't know what's going on with that. So I'm trying to understand that. And the same thing here. And we're seeing some sort of a pattern now. If you look at the immune system, see on the before, there was a big dip. But now in the after, I mean, there's a lot of energy in the immune system. So those are some, I feel like these are positive changes that we're experiencing in the system, that the systems that really needed that help now, because, you know, the system is like more energized, then it's like, you know, it's regulating more energy to the areas that the system needs it more. That's what I'm seeing. I don't know. This is, you know, we're beginning this, so there is a lot of work to be done.
It could be related to big metabolic changes.
See, you see the same thing on the duodenum. See, before is underactive going in, after it just like went to overactivation. And what I experience now, and the reason for this, is that usually like you know, like Reiki, like I don't know, massage, or you know, different type of systems that are not this, you know, it's more subtle energy. What I see is that like the shift is a lot less. But then with this, I see that when I do it before after scan of a Regmatex session, like you see the chakras, like some of them just completely shoot to the side. And like I see a lot of movements, like, you know, on a before and after session. But then once I give it time, like if you look at this session right here, so this is the first scan when she came in, before I really started, you know, working on the system, right? And if we, yeah, and then like afterwards, see when I started running it, it's like those two systems, they started to, and this is, remember the pituitary, we're seeing that the pituitary became like really overactive. And then this is the area that we see on the duodenum. That energy started to like poof, just become really overactive there. So when there's a lot of energy that goes to a system, from my experience, is that these energy centers, it's almost like a fuse box. That when you have a lot of energy goes in, they hold, consume energy, and then they pop it so you're not having too much energy going in. And then what happens is that they go to the side. And this is even like I see this with like crystal therapy. Like if you put the crystal on a body for a longer time than like it's designed to be, like we have tachyonized crystals, that I see the same exact thing. And it's very interesting. It's usually the same two chakras that have this movement together. So once I see that, and then I wait, this is what happens. See, now the crown is like it got active, started moving, but now look at the rest of the systems. They started to really like come into this like beautiful motion. And that's the sort of coherence in the system. And then the last one that I did, see, they keep on coming in now. And they're now more aligned, and now those systems are moving a little bit. So now if I scan her, I was waiting, and like she's a part of the game with me. She's part of the research with me. And and she's like, oh my God, like this is so cool. I'm like, can we wait like 5 more minutes? Because like I know all this, we added a lot of information into your system right now. There's a lot of fluctuations that are happening, and we're experiencing that. This is like a live show. So then we get excited about it. We're like, okay, let's wait 5 more minutes and then like do one more scan. So then this is what we got to. And then I had to take another meeting. So I couldn't wait another like 5-10 minutes to do one more scan. But if I waited another 5 or 10 minutes, like I guarantee you, it would have become this perfect alignment. And look at the size. Like, look at this. Look at this. When we were looking at like the first time that she came in on that day, see how small like the throat, thyroid area. We have the third eye. There's a blockage in those areas. Crown was small too. But now look at the size. They're all almost the same size now.
Pretty interesting.
Very interesting.
Cool. I do have to go because I have
Oh shoot, it's 7.
family
I gotta go
over here.
I get lost on this stuff. I mean, this is so much, so
know.
intriguing to me. This is to be able to have, especially like Dr. Francisco and Dr. Bart here, to be able to kind of look at it now from like different points of view. That's what's really, really powerful.
Yeah, I'm still a newbie, just so we're clear. Okay.
Yeah.
So, hey, Francisco, I have a medical case that I may want to pass by you, but it doesn't have to be right away. Okay to circle back sometime tomorrow, this weekend, or would you rather me wait till Monday?
Monday is good because I have the family here. Let me show you
Yeah.
where I am. Let me see if I can show it over here. Kind of froze, I guess.
Yeah. You're in your new place. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, my video froze.
All right.
Anyways.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions? Last minute questions before we go? I know we shared a lot of information.
I do, Nima. Any training on the BioWell, is that on the app, the practitioner's app?
Yes. You didn't get a text message? We just had a meeting last night for it was a 2-hour deep analysis session on BioWell. I do it every 2 weeks.
Okay.
2-hour session every other Wednesday. And we send a mass text message. We send messages in the app to everybody. We email everybody, but we have like 10 people show up. So out of all of the practitioners that we have.
Well,
I'm there to share with you.
I was doing clinical rounds, so I wasn't able to. But
And I'm putting them in the course on the, if you're in the level 1, you have access to the level 1 BioWell level 1 course on the Lightworkers app. Then we're putting all of the recordings into the level 1 course. So then if you're missing it, you can go and watch them.
Okay, great. Awesome.
All right. Everybody have a great weekend.
You too.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th, everyone. Yeah.
Happy 4th.
Have fun.
Thank you very much.
Great job, Nima.
Okay.